Hello kids, how are you all? I hope you all are doing amazingly well. So today I'm going to tell you the story of George Muller. George Muller was born in Germany in 1805. He was born in a very good family. They had everything in surplus. But George Muller was a very naughty kid. At a very mere age of 10, he was tagged as a thief, gambler and a bad person because he did all the evil deeds or evil actions, illegal actions. He started drinking at a very young age. He started gambling with his friends at a very young age, and he was the leader of all these bad people or all the thieves there. And at the age of 14, when his mom was on the deathbed, even on that day, he went out with his friends to gamble and drink. So he was thrown into this dark, deep pit of darkness, of sin. And he gambled and he drank alcohol every day, and he thought this was real happiness. He thought this is what his life is all about. And at the age of 16, he became even worse. He started stealing money from others so that he could pay off his debt, or he could pay off his drinking lifestyle for alcohol and all this. And he was caught police many times because he couldn't pay for dinners or at restaurants. So he was fallen into this deep dark pit of sin. And one day his life changed. So how did it change? One day he planned to visit Switzerland with his friend. And when he went to Switzerland, his plan was to visit all the beautiful sceneries and enjoy drinking with his friends, gambling with his friends, and dance all night. So it was his plan. But he was called for a prayer meeting by a person he knows. And he unwillingly went to the prayer meeting. He was like forced and dragged to go to the prayer meeting. And he went to the prayer meeting. At the prayer meeting, he was surprised and amazed at how people were rejoicing and how people were worshipping God regardless of the gender, regardless of their age. Different people were worshipping God, right? He was so surprised and amazed by it. And he was surprised by the love everybody showed towards him, right kids? So what he did, while everyone was kneeling down and praying to God, right? He was surprised and he followed their action. He kneeled down, and that was the first time he uttered a word for God. He started praying, and that night he kind of realized something. And that night when he was alone, he knelt down and looked up for the God, and he started praying to God. And that is when he knew he was in the deep darkness, and he wanted to change his life. And from that day, every time there was a prayer meeting, he went to the prayer meeting. That's how he devoted his life for God. That's how he realized who the true God is, what the true happiness is all about. He left all the smoking, gambling, alcohol and everything, and followed God's word. And afterwards, he wanted to start a missionary. He wanted people like him to change. He wanted many people who are into this darkness want to change. And he told his testimony to thousands and lakhs of people and changed their life. He went all around the world and carried his missionary and carried the God's word all around the world. Very passionate for Christ. And he always believed prayer was the only way he could connect with God. Right kids? That is true. So after that, he was also a pastor for a church, and he built many orphanages so that he could offer something to the poor and the untouchable people, and people, he offered a lot of things for the poor people. And he started the orphanage with 44 people, and there were 2,000 people. And at the end of his life, there were almost more than 117 orphanages besides Education Institute under him, right kids? A person who stole money just to pay off his dinners now built more than 117 orphanages and all to help people. So how great his life changed, kids, right? And he always prayed to God, to feed all these people under him, poor people. He never asked anybody for funds, or he never asked somebody to rich people to give him money so that he could feed them, or so that he could satisfy their daily needs, or like, there could be little things he could ask money for, but he never asked. Whenever anything is insufficient, he just knelt down in the presence of God and asked God, I want this, I want that, right? His whole life, he never asked anybody anything for money. Only God helped him, right, kids? So how powerful is the prayer, kids? Right? Do you pray, kids? You should. Because God will not help you to pray, kids, but God will help you as you pray. So God will not force you to kneel down, or God will not force you to close your eyes. You have to go kneel down and close your eyes and pray to Him and look up to Him and pray to Him. And when you're praying, God will help you. As you pray, God will help you. Right, kids? So He'll not help you to pray. He'll help you as you pray, kids. And prayer is very powerful. You all have to pray, kids, right?